Draft your LCS team and earn money. Alpha Draft.
Be any of those situations as we are jumping into Champion Select. Nah going to be taken off the board. Cole is never going to see that one again ever.
Nope.
And Rek'Sai going to be taken away from Loveling as well. I don't think he's going to see that one.
And the priority on that Janna pick didn't really pay off for Starhan Royal Club. They had the last pick potential here, so they probably won't be seeing that Janna. Might even ban it on the red side, but we're seeing some very strong bans come through already.
Yeah.
It feels like something's going to slip through though.
Yeah, OMG deciding this time to ban Azir now that they're on the blue side, and Aurelia being taken off the board. Cola being forced on a completely different champion yet again.
And it theoretically removes a top laner with carry potential. Of course, Cola was massive in that game at one point.
Yeah.
5-1-1 very early. You're taking away a strong laner with carry potential and just saying to Cola, all right, that Aurelia was pretty good. We know your Na's good. What else you got?
Yeah, please show it to us. And Cola's going to have to this game. We'll see what he decides to go with. As Siv's going to get banned away, and Cool going to just instantly.
It just
log
feels
in
like
Cassidy.
in the last year or so, it doesn't matter what patch, doesn't matter how many times Riot's like, okay, we don't like this Cassidy guy,
Yeah.
nerf. Cassidy comes back, he finds a way, the mobility, his kind of flexibility as a flex pick. And it's crazy, we've talked so far today about Lissandra as a flex pick, even Morgana as a flex pick in China. Cassidy, he's one of the more famous ones over the past few months. He does it so well, and now he's locked in.
Yeah, and it could be going picking that one up, of course. I said Cool the first time because here in China, we see Cassidy being predominantly used in that mid lane, and with the LeBlanc being available as well, I mean, Korn can pick that one up again, but Cassidy has a fine time against that champion.
They have the open option, right? They can do
Yeah.
whatever they see fit there. It's probably not going to be a jungle Cassidy, but the solo lanes are
Has
very
been
much
done in
as
the past.
Sure, anything's possible there,
Yeah.
Alice.
It is. You are definitely.
Now, the
showing
one
us
important thing here, we see Cola has stolen away the Maokai, so it's not going to be
Yeah.
the carry top, especially in a damage sense per se, but Maokai's been a driving force in a couple of teams' victories today. If he can go unrestricted in the laning phase, if he can actually farm up, get a Rod of Ages, or get a very early Righteous Glory, he has so much power. And I saw your smirk because he's not going to have his Rengar this time, his Insect.
Yeah, Loveling actually going to lock that one away. There are, of course, a slew of junglers available here for Insect. Can pick up his very famous Lee Sin if he wants to. HYY hovering over a cute little Vel'Koz, which I very much enjoy. Nocturne, another option. So we'll see what Insect decides to go with. We know his champion pool is gigantic.
And the Nocturne is locked in here.
Wow.
Very exciting to see Nocturne come out in the LPL.
Oh my gosh, does this mean that we could have a potential double global comp?
Let's take
Could the
let's take a
Twisted
breath.
Fate happen?
Let's take a breath. I'm not sure of Korn's ability on that Twisted Fate, but the Nocturne is locked in right here. And OMG...
If they didn't have damage in their comp beforehand, they certainly do now, ladies and gentlemen.
The Civ is gone, and the only champion he's shown other than Sivir is the Vayne, which, I mean, about as opposite a flavor as you can get between two champions. He's maybe not going to lock it in. He's more considering the Tristana, which has been powerful, but any of these picks will be exciting. We'll wait and see what he locks in, but I would expect the LeBlanc to come out here. Syndra is available, so we might see that skill matchup in the mid lane, but the LeBlanc lock-in is what I expect.
Yeah, so LeBlanc taken away, and Uzi going to lock in that Vayne as well. So much damage coming in this game for OMG as we look over their full lineup. That's almost, I mean, Loveling going to have to build full tank straight away on this Rengar. Not going to be seeing any Ghost Blades coming through here, but Syndra was available, and Korn going to lock that one away straight away.
I mean, you say that Loveling has to build a tank. I mean, he probably should, right? But
doesn't mean that he has to.
How many people from OMG are going to be diving into fights here? All four of them are going to be going straight in there. Rengar, Cassidy, and LeBlanc. I mean, the double AB assassins.
Yeah.
But if you build any magic resist, Uzi's going to have a fun time diving into fights too. So this is what we like to see from OMG. It's all right. Last game we had tanks, support mid laners, and like a supportive AD carry. And this time it's actually I'm the carry. No, I'm the carry. No, I'm the carry. And it's going to be fun to see.
It's going to be really, really fun to see. And it looks like OMG really going to shake up their playstyle as well this game. Probably going for a lot more picks throughout that early game. Not going to see this sort of rotational play where First Blood doesn't happen until about 15 minutes into this game. You could imagine that we're going to be jumping straight into the action with this one.
See, it could be a quiet start to the game, but you just know at one point someone's going to pop off on this OMG side and go crazy.
Yeah, so good luck to our observer actually seeing what happens throughout this game and making sure we get the kills, because people could be dying in instants this game.
It's going to be a very different flavor just from the picks, because, I mean, OMG, they were all about using that huge CC train into getting picks, and they didn't really have a lot of Baron damage. They didn't have huge damage in team fights. It worked out. They did play those objectives very smartly. They took out the early dragons and kind of forced Starhan Royal Club's hand if they had had more objectives, they could have hung back and kind of waited for the late game where it was just going to be a lot of tanky men and an Uzi eye. But now, we'll see what we got
here. See what happens as we do get into the game. And welcome to the Rift, ladies and gentlemen. OMG now on our blue side and Starhorn Royal Club trying to bounce back here on the red side. Cola picking away that Maokai from Go-Going in the last game, and this time Go-Going opting for a more damage-focused choice.
So Janna got to the third rotation of picks, which is almost unheard of in competitive League of Legends right now. But look at this answering support from Zero.
He actually did decide to go with the Vel'Koz, which I sort of passed over, expecting that to not be locked in as the Distortion going to go over the wall. 2 auto attacks for cool.
And as casters, we sometimes glaze over some of these more flavorful picks coming out from the enemy team. But if Zero knows anything, it's about laning as Janna. So maybe he has some good ideas about how to lane against Janna. I think we might even see a 2v1 here, just because maybe how do I know how much experience OMG have in a competitive setting against the Vel'Koz support?
Yeah, and Vel'Koz with a lot of poke potential as well, and if you do manage to land all of his abilities, has so much raw damage power just based on levels that you do pick up on that champion. So we'll see whether Zero can use that to great effect, and we know Zero as a monster support player.
And as usual, OMG get very aggressive wards down, and this time on the red side jungle from Starhorn Royal Club. They're still looking for the lane swap, but probably the big thing to me is they're not going to let Insect just farm up to level 6. He's going to have a struggle to get as many camps as he wants.
Oh, yes, he is. We'll see whether they do manage to keep him down here. No focus is over on the other side, and it looks to me like Starhorn Royal Club wanting to start at their blue, where no members of OMG are working. Oh, Zero. That is not the place you want to be. Does get a W down across the members, but that's all he's going to be able to have as he falls down for first blood.
Vel'Koz has a lot of things, but HP is not one of them.
Nor mobility.
No.
So unfortunately, both of those sort of biting him in the butt there a little bit as he does fall down. And this red buff is going to go down early on as well. So if Loveling transitions to his own red buff straight away, you could see Insect possibly starting with only 1 buff this game.
So the question I'll raise of Zero there is why choose to re-invade your own red side? We saw that that Insect was in position to take a camp at level 1, so it wasn't like he was fighting for that ward. He had to. He's seen the enemy team come through. He knew they had at least some wards out there, so it just seemed a bit reckless to re-invade the red buff, and he paid for it.
Yeah, looks like Insect is going to be able to find his way to the enemy red buff, though, so a bit of vertical jungling going to go on, but Insect not going to fall too far behind.
The classic 2v2 top lane situation.
Yeah, this is going to come through, and this is something that they did learn by, you know, Zero falling down there in the early game, is the fact that everyone was on that top side. So managing to get the laning situation that they want, bit of a silver lining there on that fairly obvious cloud, as Insect's going to be able to take away the red buff, as we were mentioning. Loveling as well, going down fairly low here in the jungle. Going to be able to secure his red at the same time, as Low actually getting a lot of poke down onto these guys, and Uzi as well, managing to get a couple of shots. And it's HYY that's taking the punishment as well, and that is not what you want. And
I'll speculate and say that this is a counter lane swap here just to get the 2v2 against Vayne. Usually don't want Vayne to get through laning phase unscathed. The last time we saw OMG play Vayne, Uzi actually backed with enough gold to pick up a Blade of the Ruin King straight up, so he went through a laning phase, skipped it basically in a 1v1 situation, and carried from there. So they wanted this 2v2, but the awkward thing is, although Corki's very favorable in a 2v2 versus Vayne, he was actually denied for the first wave or so of CS and experience. The one of the few times we've seen experience denial coming out in the LPL so far, because his support died. So he's actually on the back foot this whole laning phase, probably had to skill his Valkyrie at level 2, couldn't go for the damage trades. And Vayne, if she gets to a certain point of power in any lane, can really trade and win a lane.
Yeah, not to mention the fact that, yeah, they just don't have the confidence as well after losing that first blood. So it would put you in a mental state where it makes it a little bit more difficult to assert the pressure. As we see HYY taking another auto attack from Low, who's playing very far up.
Yeah, the only one boon is that you can say, well, at least Zero kept his flash. Because if flash was down as well, you know that Level will be all up in this top lane.
Oh, yes, he will. At the moment, hanging out in this bottom lane, looking to try and keep Cola down here on this Maokai, of course, can become that tanky monster as demonstrated by Go-Going in our last match. See whether anything is going to come through. He's just going to back away from that bottom lane as we have a nice Howling Gale landing onto HYY here as well, as Q's going to land onto Low, but... Oh, that's actually the flash into the Condemn there as well. The miss of the shot, but the heal being baited out, and HYY Valkyries to relative safety, but forced to back Uzi always aggressive.
So I don't know what the pool was for the first overly aggressive move, but it was Uzi at 4.5 minutes, just going for that flasher. He smelt blood, thought he could get this lane snowballing in a massive way in the top lane. Didn't quite pull it up, but look at this CS advantage. 32-19 for a Vayne Corki lane. For Vayne to be in the ascendancy 13 CS. I mean, Uzi's used his flash, but Corki's going to have more than a little struggle in this top lane.
He really is, and we know that tumble can be used to great effect to get out of stuff as well, but see whether Starhorn Royal Club can punish the use of that flash in a very aggressive way, or whether Uzi's just going to continue playing so far up in this lane.
And Kassadin versus Maokai is a really interesting lane matchup just because both of them have mechanics that depend on the enemy's amount of spells used. Obviously, Maokai has some pretty short cooldown spells, so we might see the ability for Kassadin to use his Force Pulse E to clear waves. And then Maokai, of course, picks up the extra health with his passive there. So just a lot of tanky battling. And you have to kind of lean towards Kassadin getting a free lane as being a massive thing.
Yeah, it's a really huge boon for going there in that bottom lane now, although we are playing a little bit of Australian League of Legends here in China, just a bit of the down-under laning.
Makes the scoreboard more than a little confusing, but we'll get there.
It certainly does. I think we'll be okay.
Thanks, Uzi. Came back down the bottom lane just to make it a little bit more straightforward.
Yeah, having a decent laning phase, but then opting to go for the re-swap, making sure that they don't hit any spikes in power for Corki where he can wrest control of that lane.
Well, it's one of those situations where now he can legitimately 1v1 the Corki. So even if they move Corki bottom, he'll be in the ascendancy in the lane, and if they don't, they've got all the dragon control. So for OMG, it's just a win-win.
Yeah, and you could imagine that OMG probably wanting to swap this one up to get their members towards this bottom side. They've had so much control of the dragon in the past that would be definitely understandable if that's what they're looking for. Going now in this top lane, gonna get another free wave here, and Kassadin ahead in his lane as far as his opposite number is concerned, and really farming this one out well. Well,
the hyper carries are going off this game between Vayne and Kassadin, which is a very scary thing if you're a Starhorn Royal Club fan.
Yeah, it was beautifully cleared. I was almost a little bit tantalized by the amount of wave clear under that turret. Insect going to be clearing out this mid wave as well, as Zero trying to hit some skill shots onto Uzi, but that tumble making it very difficult.
And Nocturne's one of those few champions where as a jungler, you're kind of happy to go mid and clear waves. Not just that you have AoE wave clear between your Q and your passive, but look, you just want that level 6 and you want it as soon as possible. So if you soak up a few waves of experience, it's not like you're sacrificing any real lane pressure. You're a level 5 Nocturne. You're not going to really be ganking anyone. So it's a very standard move to go to mid lane, pick up some creeps, and now Insect hit 6.
Yeah, see whether he can affect this map. Of course, needs to try and keep down all of the players of OMG, so you can imagine focusing a gank anywhere would be a good idea, but I think the bottom lane may be his focus this matchup, just because of that Rift Walk and, of course, the distortion available for the other members.
Wow, Loveling so low in his jungle. He legitimately has 0 health flashing on our monitor here, but calculated, of course, as any jungler will know. He's feeling a little bit happier now, even thinking about the blue buff.
Goodness, actually going for that blue buff as well. Going to be very difficult for him to stay alive on this one. Probably needs Cool to do a fair bit of damage here, maybe tank it out for him, which he's going to do. Chain's going to land. Loveling's going to head back to base, and Cool has a blue. So nicely done, nicely juggled by OMG members, and Loveling now looking to try and affect this map. Hasn't quite hit that, has hit that level 6 now, so has the thrill of the hunt. So he can try and counter gank Insect, but that paranoia probably going to be a little bit more useful as far as getting you in when you want to.
And when we first saw this matchup on the run sheet, it wasn't the OMG versus Starhorn Royal Club semi-final rematch that was really the boon. It was, man, won't it be exciting to see Uzi against Name, you know, the battle of those two highly regarded AD carries battling out in bot. We didn't know what to expect. Who would be the main advantage there as we see Insect kind of sauntering around mid. But the one thing you can say is look at this CS down bot. 20 CS is the advantage for Uzi over HYY.
Yeah, that hasn't extended since they swapped the lanes, though. So HYY doing well as far as keeping up the same disadvantage that he had last time. So I think now having a little bit of a better time, you could say.
It's a shame that we lose kind of that exciting matchup there, but it just means the return series, you know, when we see the next time these two teams meet in a best of two, should be really exciting.
Yeah, we'll see whether Name can actually provide what Starhorn really need here. And it seems to me like HYY hasn't necessarily been as much of a negative point as he could have been otherwise. Of course, he was a bit untested, but we saw in their first win that he can certainly play up here with these players.
He hasn't been vastly outclassed in his appearances so far on the Rift and the LPL. I mean, he hasn't looked like the hyper carry that Starhorn Royal Club have been defined by for so long. So it'll be interesting to see when Name does come back, will it be that hyper carry, protect the hyper carry flavor once again? I mean, we kind of saw a bit of a preview last game when Kohler was really going off on Aurelia. Was he able to carry the game out? No. Was it his fault? Probably not. But it does see he is able to get himself into those favorable positions like a 5-1-1 Aurelia was in the previous game.
Yeah.
And the question they'll try and answer and what they'll try and learn before Name comes into the team is really what is the potential of these mid laners who are solid, but are they superstars?
We'll see whether we get the answer anytime soon. We do have the Sheen coming through, almost the Phage as well here for HYY as he makes his way back to base, but it's going to be the Bilgewater Cutlass now completed for Uzi with almost that Blade of the Ruined King just around the corner, just 850 gold now as well.
Insect with
back to lane.
Yeah, solo invade coming out. He gets a nice deep ward down. They're thinking about the turret dive here, which on a Kassadin sounds like a very frustrating thing to do, but it does relieve some pressure from Rengar unless he picks the complete lane gank path.
Yeah, both the mid laner and the jungler waiting to try and get going. Of course, we'll see whether they do manage to. As you mentioned, that Riftwalk makes it very easy for Kassadin to get out of trouble, but it looks like the invade potentially on the blue buff here is actually the Paranoia gets popped, the Chilling Smite as well into Loveling. The Rillavan has been popped, but there's the Unleashed Power, and Korn with a nice Dark Sphere going to pick up that kill.
And awkwardly, the flash was used by Loveling there, wasn't able to get over the wall, does perish with his life. And finally, Sahan Royal Club able to exert some early pressure.
Yeah, nicely played. Picking up their own kill. Of course, the only other kill going, and this is exactly what you mentioned. I mean, I thought that we might have a more exciting early game, but as you said, farming out this one. But no turrets have been taken as of yet. OMG not quite managing to arrest the power that they had last time. Low going very aggressive. Uzi deciding to back off that trade. And nice exchange there in the bottom lane.
The reason why I was... Oh, as we see the trade coming in.
Nice knock up. There's the Ray of Death coming through from Zero, trying to get the damage down. Uzi now going very low. Forced to pop that heal as well as HYY is possibly going to get the kill. Is it? It's a beautiful... No, there it is. The Phosphorus Bomb locks down that kill as Going now finds his way in. It was actually cool to manage to pick that one up. Beautiful transitional play by every member of OMG. 4 members strong.
Uzi survived just long enough to get his teammates to come in. 5 members in this bottom lane compared to just 2 from the Starhorn Royal team. They're going to be able to equalize some waves here. Dragon is up. They're not looking to posture towards it, but a lot of resources used there just to equalize the kill trade.
Yeah, in a 1v1.
Yeah, we see the replay here. I mean, Uzi gets caught with a knockup and gets so low, but he's not going to back off. He's going to go right back in. Zero doesn't have a lot of answers once he's used his ECC, but the teleport's coming in right here. Neither of them are cancelled, but Maokai actually cancelled because he notices LeBlanc comes into the lane. It was very even, but importantly, OMG used a lot more resources there to get the 1-for-1 trade.
Yeah, and in this matchup, it's going to be the first tower falling on the side of Starhorn Royal Club. So nice work by Kohler. Chains are actually going to land here by Cool, though, and does actually get caught up here as Going's found his way in. Kohler in a lot of trouble. Has his flash, but he's not going to be able to use it, I don't think, because the chase potential coming out of especially these 2 champions too high.
Now they are able to trade this gank in the top for Dragon, though, so that's a good trade coming down for Starhorn Royal Club. They'll accept that. No magic resist built on Maokai. Actually goes for the very quick Rod of Ages. Exceedingly quick. 13 minutes is the earliest Rod of Ages we've seen so far. So excellent CS coming out from Maokai, but no magic mantle like we saw out of Going. No boots even completed there. In fact, no, he's changed his build around. No Rod of Ages. It's going to be the Righteous Glory.
Yeah, it was actually, in fact, Going that picks up the Rod of Ages this time, and Righteous Glory does seem to be the pickup. We'll see whether this version of Maokai going to be as effective as Going's in the last match. Of course, with a lot more engage power now as well. As actually, there's the knockup coming onto Uzi as well. Beautiful trading coming through here by Zero's. Valkyrie's going to get forced out. There's a Disintegration Ray onto Uzi as well. Does get shielded. Not entirely sure whether he's going to be able to get back in. Of course, he's very low, and the poke coming through from this bottom lane very high.
It's super interesting to see these damage and all-in trades coming out with the Velko support. Zero's ability to hit those E knockups has been unbelievable. If he's missed one of those in either of those team fights, it would have been a 1 skirmish for OMG. So Zero, he's trying something different, but at least he's performing very admirably on that champion.
He really is, and that Disintegration Ray doing a lot of work, making sure Uzi couldn't capitalize on the low HYY. Velko seems to be working, but they are still going to lose a turret.
They lose that turret here. We see pings coming onto Kassadin in the top lane. He obviously has some Riftwalk stacks available, so very hard to chase down. But Insect, he wants to keep trying to boss around this blue side of OMG.
Yeah, we've got Cola here as well. They are going to be able to steal away this blue buff, it seems. Scorn going to throw a ball at it. Ooh, Loveling's actually popped the Thrill of the Hunt there, though. They do manage to take the blue, but Korn does get a combo off. Didn't really seem to do very much at all, though.
Important thing there was securing the blue buff away from Core, stopping some of that assassination potential coming out from the LeBlanc there. Let's go going spot towards, going to clear that out. It's been good to see Royal Club identifying their points of power, which is their control around the enemy blue buff, and picking them up.
Ooh, cool, actually getting caught by the Scout of the Week, and of course the knock up there as well. Chain's not going to find their mark.
Some important power spikes being picked up here very early by the Ruin King, but Cola's in trouble.
Smite lands. Cola gets bursted down very low straight up as Lou's actually going to use that Monsoon just in order to heal himself and his teammates.
It's worth noting here, no Trinity Force completed on Corki, Blade the Ruin King and Boots 2 completed on Vayne. 30 CS is the advantage there, and even though it's a 0-1-2 Vayne, she's ready to split and ready to fight.
She certainly is. Of course, that Blade of the Ruin King power spike is never something that should be ever understated or underestimated. As Cool now being forced to try and clear out these waves. Is LeBlanc, though, so not going to have a great time doing that. And this wave going to be taken. Starhorn Royal Club with a lot of power over these objectives.
I'm really impressed that Starhorn Royal Club have been able to identify that the only way that OMG can clear waves at this point is LeBlanc using her distortion and, of course, mimic distortion. And without a blue buff, not having the mana sustain to be able to do that, they're able to go in there, steal away buffs, take advanced vision, just because they recognize the wave clear on OMG. It's not there.
Yeah, and it seems like OMG are doing fine around this map. Of course, 101 Kassadin's a fantastic thing. Vayne with now Blade of the Ruin King and a huge CS advantage in about 40 CS at this stage is brilliant, but Starhorn Royal Club are rotating really well this game.
They are, and this is probably where we're going to start seeing the split push there. We see Vayne in the bottom lane. We're going to see Uzi pushing very aggressively here, looking for warding support. He's already got plenty of defensive wards aggressively put in towards that blue side for Starhorn Royal Club. And Corki, he's got a Trinity Force, but he has no answers for this Vayne right now.
No, he doesn't. He's going to be able to try and pick up this wave here as the Gromp is going to get started by Uzi. You can see HYY playing very safe, not going to be looking aggressively for any fights here.
Yeah, HYY is going to control the wave as much as possible, keep it under his turret so that Uzi has to really
Cool maybe in the wrong spot here as the Mimic gets caught out. Insect's actually going to flash away, but you can see gone back to the distortion. Cool comes back in again, uses that flash, does manage to escape once more as Going turns up. Loveling's here as well, but look at how squishy is Cola. Finds his mark. That heal's not going to be enough as Going comes around. The Ignite's onto Korn here as well. He's going to fall down. Going's now a monster on this Kassadin. Cola as well, so low. Twisted advances to try and get onto Going, but there is the Sigil of Malice, and he's going to fall down to that one. So a messy fight, but 1-1 by OMG.
I have no words to explain how good it was played by Cool there to stay alive. His use of his passive, his juking was unbelievable, and he even tops it off with a kill at the end. Is there no answer to Cool on LeBlanc? That's the question I have to ask.
He's pretty cool. Uzi actually going to aggressively flash over the wall. There's Blade of the Ruin King being popped as well. Does get the condemn against the wall. HYY forced to flash over. Uzi wants to dive. The paranoia comes down. A little bit overly aggressive.
And Uzi was very transparent in what he wanted to do. He wanted to style on HYY. To get the replay here, watch Cool. Gets DPS down to so little health. Goes over the brush. Jukes out Insect, who of course sees him too late. Comes back into the fight. Stays alive. Flashes the Syndra E right there, and then Going's like, hey guys, I'm Kassadin and I've been farming plenty. Cool stays safe here, but Going's doing so much damage in the backline. And the problem with Velko's support is you can't peel away that Kassadin. I mean, everyone has trouble dealing with the mobility of Kassadin, but really can't do anything once you use that E ability right there. And Cool's just like, hey, I'll just grab a kill too.
Yep, no worries at all. Beautifully executed by OMG in what looked like was a catch for Royal Club.
I mean, in a sieging sense, Velko's excellent. So much poke coming out of their champion. In a trading sense, we saw just how on point Zero was with the E disengages in bottom lane to knock away Uzi and give them a chance in those 2v2 situations. But once he uses that ability, it actually has quite a high cooldown, even if you put points into it, and he has no other CC to speak of.
Yeah, he's going to land the Q onto Going here, not doing too much damage. And Dragon just available as well, so we'll see whether OMG does make any moves towards that one. You can see Uzi rotating around towards this middle lane area as the Scuttle Crab's going to take a lot. Uzi just going to head back to lane, actually.
The scary thing is just how strong this Kassadin is. Has 2 completed big AP purchases so far. even more items than Cool can boast from the mid lane here. So Going and Cool are super strong, and there's no semblance of an Aegis coming out from Starhorn Royal Club yet. They need that already, maybe even 5 minutes ago, because the mid-game burst potential of these double AP assassins is huge.
Yeah, and Insec only sitting on a couple of cloth armors as well, apart from his...
He's worried about Uzi.
Yeah, so he's going to have to try and itemize against everything here, and there's just so many threats coming through from OMG. They are going to be able to easily take away this dragon as well, unbeknownst to Starhorn Royal Club.
And you can feel sorry for Starhorn Royal Club just because there's so many different types of damage to deal with here. There's no real correct itemization path for Insec.
There's every correct itemization.
The only way you could really kind of split the difference is get an Aegis and just go for the team fights 5v4, 4v4, and just hope that HYY can play safe in the bottom lane. Because if you itemize for Uzi, you're sort of saying that you're going to hang with him when he split pushes. It's going to be a split push favor. That's what he's shown on this Vayne. He's going to build that Ghost Blade and just push bottom all day. And Insec theoretically should get an Aegis and dive into these team fights because that's the best shot they have.
Yeah, and we'll see whether they can manage to get to that mark. Of course, what you have to do is be able to get the money in order to afford the Aegis. So Starhorn Royal Club trying their very best to get back into this one. 6 kills now to 3 at 21 minutes into this game. Another couple of minutes until Going's Rod of Ages is fully charged up and he hits that big Rod of Ages spike.
OMG still have work to do to get the advanced wards down they want before any objectives come up here. It's a very nice defensive ward, pink ward, especially set up from Starhorn Royal Club here, so they at least know that they're not bleeding anything extra, but the issue here, huge wave down bottom, Vayne free farming, nobody pressuring her. Vayne's going to get really, really strong.
Yeah, and this is what happens when you have so many threats on the side of OMG. Everyone has to be answered, and of course, one's always going to fall through the cracks. So when you've got the likes of Going on Kassadin and Uzi on Vayne, I mean, who do you answer first?
That's the issue there. They need someone to answer the split push of Vayne. Hopefully it's Corki, but realistically that's not really a sustainable situation. It's just going to get worse. We see Loveling take a nice burst of damage there. And then this Kassadin's already gone off, so you kind of have to deal with the AP, I think, before you can really start to answer the split push.
Yeah, OMG not going to be able to clear out that pink ward. A nice defense by Starhorn Royal Club. As some more poke coming through. OMG yet to sort of reveal their hand as to what they really want to do as far as being able to get these objectives down. As another geometry strike going to come through from Zero.
They have their waves in a pretty good spot. You'll see the blue wave starting to crash up top here. It should be a slow wave push towards the red side. It's very slow as the answering wave got almost every minion in that situation. It's going to be a very slow push up the top here. No dragon available here, so no big objectives to pick up. But they're happy with their wave control right now, and Uzi's gone back. He's picked up the Ghost Blade. He's basically the lord of the split push right now, and he's just waiting for someone to come and answer him.
Yeah, that purple split build. Wanting one person just to come and check out his sweet new purple stuff.
And sweet new red buff too.
Yeah, no worries at all. Ooh, nice geometry maneuver by Zero. He's landing a lot of his abilities on this Vel'Koz. Looks very comfortable on the quite unorthodox pick.
Yeah, when we hover over him, it'll be interesting to see what he's maxing, just because he's gotten so much purchase value out of the E there, the disengage that it provides. But usually as a Vel'Koz support, you want to max the Q just for the poke.
Yeah, we'll see what he has decided to do. As we can see, a couple of points in that E, but yes, it is going to be that Q max coming through primarily.
So it's a very useful CC, but it's definitely a once a team fight CC, and that's kind of the worry there, is that from support, can you really afford to be going to something so poke-orientated when you're getting split pushed and realistically you're not going to be sieging anytime soon?
Yeah, and that was actually 1 point in the air. It was
an
extra point in the W, but just can't seem to see stuff. Cool, going to be able to clear out this bottom wave. And we're going to head back towards this middle lane as well. Royal Club going to pick up their blue buff. Haven't really seen too much coming through from Korn on this Syndra. 1, 1, and 0 now. Almost has that Rabadon's Death Cap picked up, but we're yet to see him really make too many plays. Did manage to pick up the kill on the Loveling earlier on, but not much to speak of here.
And we're starting to see, for the second time tonight, the Corki identity crisis that comes out. If you're picking up that beautiful mid-game items, you know, the Trinity Force and the Sorcerer's Shoes, but your team's losing to the point where you can't really group and take objectives. That's the issue there, is that it's a wonderful team fight poking, sieging item build, and of course they have that poking support in Zero, but when you're behind, it feels good to have those items, but you just have no answer to what Vayne can present for you in a split push situation.
No. That being said, Uzi has made his way around to this mid lane. Looks like OMG really want to try and get something going here. Their siege not that strong, but when there aren't that many members here in the mid lane, that's not going to bother them at all much.
They're just going to have to threaten the dive and try and take a turret they really have no business doing just because of how strong this Kassadin is.
He really is waiting off to the side there as well. Cleared out the pink ward that was in that little Raptor brush. Scout of the week going to come through just to scout out. Another pink ward going to be placed. And Royal Club now trying to regroup yet again. We saw Cool heading back to base. Does have his Rabbitin's Death Cap now. Almost has the Void Staff as well. So almost with that trinity of items for extra damage.
It's the vision denial, I think, that's important for OMG here. Because if they manage to get the vision... Oh, we might see a fight.
Jumped on the Paranoia. Has been popped in. Not yet pulled the trigger. Decides not to actually go in on anyone, as we do see the Scrying Orb coming through as well. The chain's going to land on a collar. He's going to twist and advance his way through onto Loveling here, but no one really hard engaging here. Oh, what a Force Pulse onto 4 members, and look at the burst! That Mimic Distortion was huge, as Insect now forced to get the heck out of here. So many flashing health bars as Going finishes off Insect. Korn has made his way back, and as has Zero, but OMG, when they pull the trigger, it's ridiculous.
It was a heroic Scrying Orb into just a 4-person Force Pulse. It's not usually the skill you expect to really determine a team fight, but it was so massive because Going, it doesn't matter if he's playing Maokai, it doesn't matter what top laner he plays, he can go into team fights and dictate them because he's just that kind of player.
Yeah, and look at Luo as well, just using that Monsoon in order to heal up as many players as he can. That being said, Loveling's going to go down incredibly low because Baron just wants to be hitting him, it seems. But this Baron going to be taken by OMG, and what an answer for such a beautiful team fight.
Absolutely. It's just it's the reward they deserve. And Kassadin, he might even get a nice massive wave up top, just the cherry on top of the nice cake that is Baron.
Yeah, beautifully played. And you can see OMG, their solo lane is playing this game so well. 3-0-5 on Going, 3-0-4 on Cool, and his Mimic Distortion as well as that Force Pulse from Going. Man, just ridiculous AoE burst coming through from OMG.
And it's not often that Uzi's Vayne can be almost an afterthought, but he hasn't even been required. It's been basically the Going and Cool show so far. And this, again, they need that Aegis, and it's not coming out soon. We see the selfish pickup from Cola here. I think he should almost take a page out of someone like Wicked's book, who loves to build, supporty aura items when he's behind, especially from that top lane. They need an Aegis, and they need it now.
They do. They're bleeding Barons, bleeding Dragons. You can see the second one, going down for OMG as they try and push up this bottom lane towards the inner turret. It's a nice little ward's going to spot out Going before he does get there, but looks like Sahon Royal Club have no intention of protecting this one.
And just to clarify, this OMG team has no business sieging down turrets with the team comp they're running here. They have very poor turret damage, but they're doing it because they're so far ahead. Look at this gold lead. 10,000 gold ahead at 28 minutes.
I didn't even notice that. That's ridiculous.
In this season, especially when you don't get the same Dragon Gold, it is a massive advantage for OMG.
It really, really is. A lot of members of Sahon Royal Club really suffering this game. You can see 0-3-0 on Kohler, as you were mentioning, not having the game that he would have otherwise desired. And seems like banning out Kohler seems to be the right idea.
And it seems like banning Kassadin, even the blind pick Kassadins have so much power here. Look at Going. Going actually walked around the back there and zoned 3 people without even a Zhonya's on Kassadin. This is a top lane Kassadin after so many damage nerfs, after so many tweaks and changes to his ultimate. Still providing that same threat, still being so strong in those skirmish environments.
Yeah, seems like having a flash on a 7-second cooldown still a pretty cool thing.
Pretty decent, yeah?
Yeah, not bad. Not bad at all. Cool. Going to be split pushing out this top wave. Azuzi going to pick up another red buff for himself.
And look at what, unfortunately, HYY has been forced into here. He's had to supplement his Trinity Force Sorcerer shoes
as well, unfortunate.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, with the amount of natural armor penetration Corki has, you only really want to do this against, say, maybe a Maokai Lee Sin, stacking Randuins and Frozen Heart situation here. There's not actually that much armor. There is respectable armor on the OMG side, but not enough to justify this purchase. This is probably just a situation of, well, this is the gold I have, and this is really all I can afford to build.
Yeah, unfortunate. Considering the mixed damage as well coming out from Corki, he doesn't really get the maximum potential of that item, as we see Uzi taking a different tack. He's going to be able to pick up a Bloodthirster potentially by the look of the little pieces of items he has so far. Of course, one of those little pieces being a BF sword.
Zero is actually playing very aggressive with so low magic resist against Cool there. If Cord went over, he would have died in
Uzi
an
actually
instant.
gets tagged by the Scat of the Week, but not going to be found.
There's just not really a decisive Nocturne ultimate that can really change a fight here, unfortunately, for Starhorn Royal Club. With the tools they have available to them, they can maybe deal with a turret dive, especially Syndra has done fine this game. You have to say Korn, he's gone to the mid lane, he's CS'd well, his items are good, like he's doing everything he can, but his team around him, they just really have no answer to what OMG can provide.
Yeah, Korn really hasn't been able to pressure anywhere else either, as we've sort of seen him get some work done in a roam once this game, but other than that, he's been sort of forced to clear out waves in the mid, and it's not really something you want to do with a lane bully such as Syndra.
Yeah, she's never been able to push that advantage. And Cool, we've seen him play the Syndra versus LeBlanc matchup, wreck a LeBlanc. Play the LeBlanc versus Syndra matchup twice now.
Yeah.
Done very well in that situation. In this case, definitely didn't rep Korn. Korn has played very well.
Yeah.
It's been a fairly safe lane in the mid lane, but he's gone around and exerted that pressure. And to be 40 CS up as LeBlanc, who has access to so little AoE, and of course, we have to mention, this is a LeBlanc who didn't even have blue buff till about the 4th blue buff spawn from how well Insec and Starhorn Royal Club controlled the blue buff of OMG. So even with less resources that he could reasonably expect, like blue buff, a 40 CS advantage, 304, Cool's ability shining through.
Really, really playing well. You can see now it has an extra Fiendish Codex here as well, so we're going to have 30% flat CDR just coming through from his items. Almost going to have 40% if we factor in potential runes and masteries as well.
And the blue buff will top it off.
Yeah, blue buff is going to put you over the edge there on that one. So 40% cooldown reduction, going to be distorting wherever he wants. Low just more than happy to wander away from that sapling.
And with that Mimic on such a short cooldown, you can just go in, QR very happily, poke someone off the turret, and just a few seconds later, do it again.
Nice amount of Dark Sphere is going to be thrown out here from Korn.
It's why Monte Cristo kind of regarded LeBlanc as a hybrid poke champion, is that once you get to level 16, especially when you have 40% CDR, you can chunk people off structures and then push it in. Almost like back in the day when Gragas would ult people at a structure and take it. LeBlanc can do it on such a short cooldown, it's ridiculous.
You can see him being a menace around here as well. Just distorting in, distorting back out again. At will, almost. Just they have Starhorn Royal Club on the ropes, and I think this has a lot to do with their performance in the last game as well. I mean, OMG just tearing them apart, and now it's just Royal Club just don't quite know what to do without their star player Name on their side.
It's always this flavor on OMG, though. What do OMG have access to? Basically, sorry, Starhorn Royal Club only have access to the minions crashing onto their turret. They're not getting anywhere near their Raptor camp, let alone Baron, let alone Red Buff. They've got access to nothing, and this is the OMG, the calculated, objective control team that we've come to love.
Yeah, there's actually barely any wards apart from right at the front door of Starhorn Royal Club's base. They have not been able to leave.
And if those wards spot you, then you're probably in for pain, whatever happens.
That's exactly right.
I mean, they could just, I mean, there's no Baron to take, obviously, here. 30 seconds on both objectives, and not really a hope or a prayer for Starhorn Royal Club to compete with them.
Yep, 20 seconds until the next Baron. You'd have to think that OMG probably just going to pick that one up when it comes up. You can see they are milling about towards the mid lane. The blue buff's going to be picked up by Cool here as well. And probably just going to move over. 15 seconds. Easily pick that one up.
Yep, they're going to get the Scotto Crab just to get complete dominance on this objective here. We're waiting for Starhorn Royal Club to push out their vision, but they just can't. Like, Zero on a very squishy support. Can't do much.
Hunt has been popped here. Loveling really wants to make something happen. Scrying Orb in the backside as well. As Lure is just going to come through, flashing right onto the members in the backside. It's going to be a heroic play by Luo as Uzi does manage to dodge out of the way of that one, but the Disintegration Ray doing work. Here's the rest of the team as OMG pile on to Starhorn Royal Club. Cola trying to tank everyone up. It is going to be going falling down after an over-aggressive Zhonya's play. And the rest of OMG now searching for Cola, is Cool actually taking a lot of punishment here. Almost fell down. That was a bit strange. Decided not to go back to his distortion. Going to be a ward there for a bit.
I have no words to describe that OMG engage there. If you looked there, 3 members collapsed on Cola at the front, and that was literally Janna and Vayne versus the world. They 2v4'd there. Janna, of course, did die.
Low actually flashed into it.
Yeah, exactly. They knew what they were doing. They were going. I'm sure if we had the comms, they were going straight in.
Yep.
It didn't quite work out, but it shows you how far ahead they are, that they can do something so reckless, so just irresponsible almost,
Yeah,
and they don't even pay for
a good
it.
word for it, man.
When you're this far ahead to basically say, yep, let's do this is crazy, but that's the OMG.
Yeah, you can see cool. Barely any cooldown on that distortion now, able just to bounce around this map.
It's trying to compete with Cassidy for mobility.
Yeah, it's a tough ask. It is definitely a tough ask, as we have a Void Staff being picked up now by going after he died for his first time. And a DFG looks to be the option here from Cool, so a very scary LeBlanc.
And it is actually the tanky Rengar we do see, so I guess Loveling has realized that he's the only person here not looking to carry this game. He's chilled, he's building up the randoms to be a bit of a frontliner. Luo is just crazy this game, I mean, with those engages.
Oh, yeah.
But doing just fine. The Infinity Edge is the third pickup here on Uzi. I mean, this single target damage, just disgusting.
Yeah, he actually went back to base with that longsword MBF, so decided that he'd pick up a full Infinity Edge before that last fight, and now has his Quicksilver Sash and that Vampiric Scepter as well. This Vayne is getting gigantic as the next Baron is going to be falling down here. 15,000 gold now the lead for OMG, and another Baron going to fall.
And just given how the fights are going, he doesn't need that Bloodthirster shield or that 20% extra lifesteal on top of the Blade of the Ruined King in order to top off in fights. Go the aggressive route, have the QSS as a defensive option, and just rip through this Stahon Royal Club team.
Yeah, he's able to wreck these people, definitely. But DFG has now been finished up by Cool, so even more assassination potential. I don't think he needed necessarily very much more, but now, of course, a single target of his desire will be falling off this map as HYY unable to even pick up his third item in the Blade of the Ruined King just yet.
It's not often as a 2, 2.5, 3 item Maokai that you feel vulnerable against an enemy team, but you look down these items and it's Maokai, you're suddenly feeling pretty squishy.
327 CS to 180 as Kohler just gets torn apart. Loveling gonna launch his way in using that Thrill of the Hunt. Disintegration Ray onto the tankiest member. Probably not the best option. The Paranoia coming through, trying to re-engage this fight as Cool's found his way under the turret once more. 3 members just getting taken off the board straight away. The shutdown now coming through onto Korn, and OMG with a 4-for-1.
And how often do we see this? 3 flashing members, as we see the Siege minions have to do all the work here, but 3 flashing members from OMG. So low, but their target focus, their damage, and just their communication, it always shines through.
That was so cute. OMG just waiting for those cannon creeps that were just a little bit too big in their range in order to come and finish off that turret.
First world problems.
It certainly is first world problems. There's a flash from Cool. Jumps into the fountain to finish off HYY as the second Nexus turret's going to fall, and OMG yet again with a phenomenal performance here against Stahon Royal Club. The Nexus falls down, and what a beautiful, beautiful game to watch if you're an OMG fan.
Yeah, what a series. And OMG just flexing their muscles, showing their carry power.
Yeah.
And the most impressive thing is they went from that low damage pick control comp there without those 3 carries. They really had only just the 1 carry in the first game. Executed it perfectly. They changed their team comp completely, go full carry pants, and it's the same result. It's a victory.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful victory as well in a different style than they had in the first matchup. And that's what I really would like to harp on about as we do go into a replay here, is that OMG able to play so many different ways.
So we're watching in the mid lane here. Already a 5k advantage. So OMG on top at this point. We're watching around here. Loveling goes for the really aggressive engage right here. And the disengage is good from Stahon Royal Club. They think they've gotten off a fight here. But look at that scrying orb. And then the Force Pulse is going to come very soon. They go and use everything on Loveling here. It's already super tanky. But it's this Force Pulse is massive from going. The AoE stacking damage that came out from Cool's Mimic Distortion was just disgusting. And well, an Insect, there's nothing he could do.
Yeah, just taken off the board. Going getting a very, very deserved kill. And you have to say that that game was all about their solo laners on the side of OMG. And when you couple that with now Uzi in the AD carry role,
it's an embarrassment of riches.
It's such a scary team to think about, especially when their communication is so beautiful.
And the only question we have is, what's it like when they're behind? What's it like when maybe there's some of those personalities and the ego of 3 carry players starts to come to the front? But they weren't tested in that series. They looked very, very impressive.
Yeah, seeing impressive performances from Invictus Gaming.